Yes. All right. So tell us your name.
Laura Thomas. Am I supposed to look at you or look at them?
Either way.
I'm going to look at them. Hi.
And what's the name of your podcast?
Rescued by a Dog. It is stories told by pet owners of the dogs that have actually saved their lives.
That's amazing. I love that, and I already want to listen to it because I think those types of... You mentioned also when you came up to me, it's a storytelling.
Yeah.
And I love those type of podcasts.
Me too.
So.
It's like This American Life, but really niche because I wanted to tell upbeat, uplifting stories about dogs. So this is where I landed.
And now, in terms of your journey so far, I think you mentioned since last November is when you started publishing.
I think the first season launched in October, finished in November, and the second season is coming out in February.
Oh, that's exciting. So, even though it's been a short journey, I'm sure it's been a long journey just, mentally kind of thinking about the idea and then all the work to, just get started. So tell me a little bit about that process and just what it took from going from concept to actually recording your first episode.
It's funny you asked that question. I created the pitch for this podcast a year and a half before I made it, but I was so busy with work I couldn't do it. I was working at an animal shelter at the time, and when I burned out on that, I was like, now I'm gonna, look at this dog, just in time.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna, go ahead and make this. So I Googled what podcast mic should I buy if I'm broke, and just started posting on all my socials looking for stories. So it's super grassroots for me, and now I'm here at PodFest figuring out I hate the podcast mic that I bought. What should I be getting? And learning about the actual professional tools because my first season was just scrappy.
I mean, that's kind of this, a lot of people get started that way, which is fine, and I think actually a good story too because some people, and actually many people that I've been speaking with, kind of are locked into this chasing perfection model, thinking they have to have, literally have everything figured out, have all the tools before they get started. But a lot of people have been coming by saying, just the important thing is to just get started.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. And I made a lot of mistakes. My episode 2, the sound is terrible, but I still aired it because it's a great story, and I learned what not to do very quickly. And I learned more in one season of making mistakes than I could have learned in, a whole PodFest. So
yeah, and okay, so in terms of your journey so far, maybe what's been some of the lows and some of the highs that you've experienced so far?
I have had so many people come on my podcast and cry because they're so joyful to tell their stories. One person said he had never told this story before because it was so emotional. And it touches me so deeply every time. And the lows are the season opener for my season 2 podcast. It will rip your heart apart, and then it'll put it back together. So just the stories themselves. The other lows have just been struggling with tech. I come from a music background, so I'm no stranger to it, but my sound was embarrassing in the first season, but I'm still proud of the season.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love storytelling podcasts, so I'm super excited to listen to yours.
Yeah.
One last question for you. So I've got this sign over here that says you have to be rich to make it in podcasting. What do you think about that statement?
I started with no money, and I actually got sponsors for every episode in the first season, $50 an episode, just by going out and finding them myself, and that was enough to cover all my costs for my first season. So could have been better audio quality, like I said, but I didn't spend a penny of my own money on my first season.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to listen. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, you as well.